Minister Guy Oppenheim.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. This is an important bill for millions of everyday people, those who have already retired and those who are saving for retirement. This bill makes pensions safer, better and greener. I want to thank colleagues all across the House for their support for the bill. I'm nervous, Madam Deputy Speaker, when there is that consensus of praise for a bill. It's a bit like the chairman of a football club indicating that they have confidence in the manager, and we know how that goes in the normal course of events. Firstly, I want to try and address some of the issues that aren't in the bill. State pensions are not part of the bill. The scope of this bill makes provision about occupational pension schemes only, and the state pension points are duly noted but not within the scope of the bill. As to automatic enrolment, it is entirely true that the automatic enrolment review sets out our ambition to remove in the mid-2020s the lower earnings limit and the lower age threshold. That will happen, but in due course. As to super funds, I welcome the support in broad terms, and I accept it's in broad terms, by the Shadow Secretary of State and also the Shadow Secretary of State for Scotland, Scottish National Party, I should say, and I accept that that is an ongoing process. There is an interim regime which has been brought forward by the pension regulator, but it is something that we will hope to take forward in due course. But I accept that that is a matter that this government needs to address in due course. As to pensions taxation, many points have been raised, and I'm sure the Chancellor is listening avidly and will be addressing those matters in due course. The importance of the bill has been shown by the many different and thoughtful contributions by honourable members, and the House has welcomed the fact that certain members have been willing to identify themselves as pension geeks, not least the Shadow Secretary of State and my honourable friend for Delyn. I certainly want to thank all colleagues from the 2019 intake who have contributed so brilliantly, whether that is the individuals like my honourable friend for Grantham, who made the case very explicitly for green gilts and many others, but also other colleagues, including my honourable friend for North West Durham, who is my new neighbour. And all I can say in terms of him as a neighbour, he's an awful lot better than the previous occupant of North West Durham, and I welcome him as my new neighbour. As to the key issue that we want to address, the key issue is this bill matters most of all, and it was best put by the Honourable Gentleman for Blaenau Gwent, is that it matters to the mums and dads in Tredegar. And it was made by my honourable friend for West Bromwich West that it's whether it's Tredegar or Tipton that we need to be looking at how this impacts. And I am resolute to ensure, to the best of our abilities within the confines of this bill, to ensure that scams are being stopped. It is absolutely crucial that we drive forward real change through Section 125 and the regulations that follow. As I indicated to the Chair of the Work and Pension Select Committee, I have written to him, I've done detailed evidence to the Work and Pension Select Committee. I'm quite sure that we can continue the dialogue to flesh out what that can mean in regulatory process, and I am very, very keen that we ensure that this bill is utilised to the best of our ability and sets out a roadmap to ensure that people are not being scammed from their pensions. These are callous crooks. We will stop them, and we will ensure that transfers are done in an appropriate way. I'd be delighted to give way.
For giving way, and it's great to hear him speak up for the good people of Tredegar, my hometown. But on dashboards, I do accept that dashboards and transparency should help in understanding schemes' performance and fees and important matters that affect pensioners across the country. But as the Secretary of State said in her introduction, we've got 40 million plus pensioners and there are 40,000 different schemes. So can the Pensions Minister please tell us more about how he's going to ensure with dashboards that they are sufficiently regulated so we don't have problems in the future with this initiative?
Well, I'm going to come to dashboards in more detail, and I'm happy to take that up with them individually. The long and the short of it is that we are very keen that there is a very detailed authorisation regime, that there is suitable restraints in place to make sure that this is not something that is open to abuse. There is a difference in the type of dashboard envisaged by some, which is a repository of all data. That is definitely not what we're going down the route of. the way that we are designing the dashboard and that the data team are progressing is to ensure that this is a data access by the individual, not a pot in which all parties can go ahead and take the data from. It's a detailed conversation I'd be delighted to take up with him, but I assure him that our objective is very much to ensure the point that he seeks to raise. I want to finish on the issue was green technology and the climate change. I look forward to my visit to Mid Wales and to working with the Welsh Government. I agree with the point raised that if you want to change the world, invest in a pension is unquestionably the right way forward. And I endorse the comments of my honourable friends from West Bromwich West and Grantham, and I'm certain that the Treasury are listening to the idea of green gilts as an alternative vehicle for pension funds to invest on an ongoing basis. And it is no doubt that by including TCFD as part of this bill, we're continuing a narrative, and this is the government, in my view, that is driving forward climate change as part of this government's agenda more than any other government in the world. We're the first government of the G7 to legislate for net zero. We are leading the way on ESG and the way it is throughout the European Union, something acknowledged by all of our partners in the European Union. We are the first government to legislate to bring TCFD into law in this country, and without a shadow of a doubt, it builds upon the work and the promises and the assurances made by my honourable friend, the Prime Minister, yesterday in his speech to the Conservative Party conference. I turn to the issue of CDCs. There is welcome support across the House. This is something that Royal Mail and all of the postmen and women who work up and down the country and support all of our individual constituencies are very keen to see go ahead. I have worked extensively with the Communication Workers Union, with Royal Mail themselves, and with the various organisations who have supported this policy. I don't want to be too Blairite in a spirit of cross-party unity, but there is no doubt that CDCs are the third way in pensions and an alternative way forward that definitely provide an alternative to the present regime. In respect of the dashboards, I believe that what we are trying to do is to bring pensions into the 21st century. We are building upon the work that has been done in other markets, whether it is energy or banking or savings, all of which have similar things, whether open bankings or savings apps and the ability to change your energy provider. I can assure the Honourable Gentleman from Selly Oak that state pension will be part of the dashboard, and I want to make the point in respect of the formulation of what dashboard looks like. Many people want to talk about the end product. I merely want to get the product up and running. But the end product will quite clearly, we believe, have something in respect of costs and charges, which addresses the point he raised, the point my old lady from West Worcestershire raised, and I can assure her that charges are under review on an ongoing basis. It will also, we hope, do much as we are proposing in respect of simpler statements, to simplify what is something that has been very, very technical for a very long period of time. The issue of small pots was raised and the difficulties understanding those on an ongoing basis. It may have escaped the House's attention, but the Department have a small pots review that is ongoing, which is working cross industry to try and assess exactly what is the particular problems with small pots. That will include, I assure the House, a consideration of pot follows member. Clearly, all of that would require future regulation, but it is something we are definitely looking at as a department. In respect of the pensions dashboard, I'll finish on one final point, is that clearly we believe very strongly in the importance of having a government-backed impartial dashboard, and we have committed to having the MAPS dashboard available from the start. And we do very much so believe the case that multiple dashboards will help a consumer base with differing priorities. And I believe very strongly that when you launch a product, do you expect the customer to come and find you, or do you launch the product where the customer is? And there are different customers who have different expectations and needs, and some already have a relationship with an existing provider. There are a variety of dashboards that can help evolve the project. I will give way.
I thank the Minister for giving way, and I would say at the outset how pleased I am to see him in his place, and he should rest assured that the thoughts of my family are very much with his. And likewise, I'd take the moment to ask the House to remember the fact that the honourable member, my friend from Eastern Bartonshire, would otherwise have been here were it not for her health issues as the SNP pension spokesperson. I think that for the Minister, I think it's clear that the two sides of the House, even members on his own side, aren't actually far away apart on the issue of the dashboard. And so my ask would be, between now and the committee stage, whether or not the Minister would be willing to discuss his intentions with myself and with the Labour frontbench and the Liberal Democrats as to what could be done that could seek compromise that would be in all of our interest to see going forward. Because this is a really important issue for us, I think, and I know him to be someone who seeks consensus where possible, and I would hope he would like to do so again in this case.
So, I've already engaged in extensive discussions, but I'd be delighted to continue to do those, both in and out of committee. I think it is very clear that the Secretary of State and myself have gone to great efforts to try and take the House with us in terms of that dialogue and debate, and I can assure him that that will take place. Can I move on, if I can, Madam Deputy Speaker, and address the issue of TPR powers? I believe it is right for me to put on the record that the pension regulator has done a good job during COVID, and as an organisation it is definitely improving, and I accept there have been criticisms in the past, but it is unquestionably been something that has progressed under the supervision of its present chairman. In respect of the powers itself, I agree with the expression of my honourable friend from Delyn that this regulator powers provide a fresh set of dentures to the TPR to ensure its bite is a little bit more substantial than its previous bark. I think it's a fair point and it's well made, and it builds upon work that has already been done. Several colleagues in the House have raised the issue of open DB and open pension schemes. The government is continuing to engage with the schemes and the pensions regulator. We want to understand their concerns, and I met recently with the stakeholders only last Friday, and I've discussed it with colleagues opposite. The measures included in the bill have been designed to deliver clearer funding standards whilst upholding the flexibility of the scheme funding regime. There is an ongoing consultation, however, issued by the regulator, which looks at a potential bespoke regime, and I've already discussed with the individual schemes whether the consultation is the right way forward, but I'm happy to continue that dialogue as indicated on other issues. Madam Deputy Speaker, can I thank many colleagues for their kind words and support to my wife and I following the death of our twin boys. It is genuinely appreciated. This House is a special place when we are presented with adversity, and it brings us together, and I think it humanises us, that while we disagree politically, we share the same problems, and I echo the comments, and I wish well our honourable friend from East Dunbartonshire. Madam Deputy Speaker, to close, we are pushing ahead with an innovative and ambitious pensions agenda, and one that is reforming retirement. It delivers on manifesto commitments, and a manifesto backed by the people of this country in December 2019. It makes our constituents' pensions safer, better and greener. Safer by cracking down on scams and unscrupulous bosses. Better by utilising new technology to develop and create a dashboard. And greener by ensuring that we get to net zero through ethical and sustainable pension investment. I look forward to further discussion, but I recommend this bill to the House. Yeah.